Today's hearing. And Joy Reid, managing editor of thegrio.com, thank you for joining me.
Great to be here. Certainly, Reverend Al.
Congresswoman, what's your reaction to that comment from Dick Cheney in light of everything you've heard from Republicans today?
I must say he ought not mention 9/11 because when 9/11 was attacked, you will note that the Democrats didn't rush in trying to get fresh blood. They tried to find out what we could do to make the next attack from happening. Yes, we wanted a review of what happened, but we didn't spend our time, perhaps we should have spent more time, trying to find out why they weren't prepared for 9/11. Now, Reverend Al, do understand that nobody on our committee is given a pass to the administration and not having been better prepared, but it's not as if we hadn't had a professional report by a veteran State Department career official and a former chief of staff. That was a scathing report. What are we doing back here? We had Benghazi 1, that was with Susan Rice. Now we're having Benghazi 2 with Hillary Clinton. Not Benghazi.
You were part of the hearing today. Are you hearing anything new here? I mean, is there anything that justifies this other than some political posturing and as you say, now trying to make Hillary Clinton the main target?
Reverend Al, the build-up to this hearing, almost a full week's build-up. For a while there, I thought they would have trailers before we got there. And then, what's the big deal here? I dare anybody who covered that hearing to tell me what new he heard. For example, Mr. Hicks, who was not on the ground, not in Benghazi, but in Tripoli, said he was stunned to hear the so-called talking points from Susan Rice that said that it looked like it was a spillover from all of the concerns that had been bubbling over about attacks on Muslims and so forth, verbal attacks on Muslims. He was stunned. Well, he may have been stunned, but General Petraeus, the National Security Advisor, all looked at those talking points. They, in fact, extracted the words Al-Qaeda, the security advisor said, or General Petraeus said, because they did not want to give away how they were doing the investigation. Yeah. But everything else was left the way it was. I have to tell you, Reverend Al, I didn't learn anything new, and it certainly betrayed the notion of this big buildup that we were going to have a colossal revelation that we hadn't heard before.
No, Joy, this big buildup, you know, conservatives are still trying to drum up Benghazi into Watergate, something that they started doing almost immediately. Listen to this.
As bad as Watergate was, because it broke the trust between the president and the people, no one died. This is more serious, because 4 Americans did, in fact, die.
Somebody the other day said to me, this is as bad as Watergate. Well, nobody died in Watergate.
This is an administration that is practicing now serial deception. This is like Watergate.
Get to the bottom of it like we did in Watergate and Iran-Contra.
I mean, Watergate? I mean, are they serious?
By the way, the third guy to talk in that montage, Rudy Giuliani, moved the command center for anti-terrorism response in New York City into the World Trade Center after the World Trade Center had been a terrorist target in the past. So we talk about intelligence failures. There have been a lot to go around. We have the Bush administration, bin Laden determined to attack inside the United States. That was a huge, massive intelligence failure. They got that August 6 PDB, did nothing about it. And as Congresswoman Norton made the point, when those massive intelligence failures happen, the response is to investigate it, to find out where the failures were. But think for a second about what it is that Republicans are really alleging at the end of the day. They are alleging in what really is 9/11 trutherism,
right,
not something akin to Watergate. This is trutherism. They're saying that the White House and our Pentagon and our State Department refused to dispatch military protection for our own diplomats, essentially let them die on purpose, did it on purpose, deliberately refused to put special operations forces in there because they knew Al-Qaeda was attacking our compound in real time. They knew it was Al-Qaeda, and they didn't want that to hurt the president's reelection. That is the allegation. It is so scurrilous and so crazy that it is on the level of 9/11 trutherism, wherein people say that George W. Bush deliberately allowed 9/11. That's what they're saying. That is such a scurrilous charge. And then to throw into it that it's also Watergate, this is Republicans desperately looking for a scandal in what has been a scandal-free administration. There were definite errors. This was a scrambling, frantic response to an attack that was coming. A series of attacks were happening around the world because of that video that was made, the anti-Muslim video. And so, yeah, the response was
at the same time, there were things going on all over the world.
So you can investigate it, but to go to a 9/11 truther, this is Alex Jones territory. This is unbecoming of Congress.
Delegate Norton, the fact is that this allegation, not only was it somewhere out on Fantasy Island, Watergate was about a political intrusion initiated by those that were involved. This was not based on some foreign power or individuals making a move. It is just outrageous to even bring Watergate up, even in the same sentence with even their allegations.
Of course it is. And the notion of, quote, cover-up is based upon the uncertainty with the intelligence officials as to whether it was a terrorist attack. Now, ever so delicately, within a couple of days, the president himself was on television using the word terrorist attack. How's that a cover-up?
Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton and Joy Reid, thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Ahead, why Rush Limbaugh may be